I come to you and I say, I will give you $1 billion, but I will kill you 10 minutes later. Would you take it? No, because there is no actual financial benefit. You're losing everything. You're losing your principal, you're losing interest, you're losing your life. So I think as long as we simplify it to those terms, the right decision becomes obvious.
And for policymakers and governments, Western law relies on foreseeability to determine guilt. And you argue that AI behavior is inherently unpredictable. Does this mean our current laws are broken? Should we move to strict liability, where if you build the model, you are responsible for everything it does forever, regardless of intent? And since we cannot regulate the software because it's too fast or encrypted, we must regulate the hardware. So you've pointed out that the only viable choke point we have is compute governance or the supply of high-end GPUs, as these are the physical tether to the digital mind. And in our geopolitical prisoner's dilemma, if the US regulates, China and others would race ahead. And now your work suggests that a rogue Chinese AGI is just as dangerous to China as it is to the US because the threat is species level, not national. However, let's assume that that will not stop bad actors from pursuing these capabilities. Should we militarily intervene to enforce compute governance as we have with nuclear governance as a matter of both national and international security? Or, given this prisoner's dilemma, what would you suggest as the most effective way for policymakers and governments to help ensure that no one can develop AI that reaches extinction level capabilities?
So it's a great question, or rather, great 5 questions that is separate. So one is our judicial system is not meant for non-biological entities. You cannot punish AI. You cannot put it in prison in any meaningful way. It's immortal. It doesn't feel pain. So all the standard tools of punishment don't mean much. Punishing a human responsible for creating AI makes sense if it's a tool. The moment it is an independent agent and that human has no ability to predict what it's going to do, you're punishing a parent for what a 40-year-old child is doing. It's just irrelevant at that point. Now, governance of hardware is a good way to buy us more time. And any large-scale project like the one recently suggested by the White House is easily noticeable, detectable, and then with desire to prevent it, we can prevent it, slow it down. Problem is that every year it becomes cheaper to create advanced AI. So today, maybe it is $1 trillion to train full AGI. Next year, we're talking 100 billion. In 10 years, it's a laptop and some kid in the garage can do it. Whatever things we propose in terms of governance right now will stop working as this scale becomes more and more towards general consumer electronics. A cell phone may be sufficient at some point to train a full-blown AGI model.
And if we were distributing a theoretical containment blueprint or checklist, which item is the one that everyone ignores? What is the seatbelt of AI containment that 99% of companies or labs are currently too lazy or too greedy to buckle?
Well, we don't even do much in terms of containment. So then I published my containment paper. All the recommendations provided have been explicitly violated immediately. So we said, don't connect it to internet. They deployed it right away. We said, don't give access to untrained random users. They have direct access, API access. Don't open source it. Of course, that is now the hottest thing around. So I don't think we have anything going for us in terms of containment. That ship has sailed, and we're not even attempting to go in that direction. I also think if you observe a sufficiently intelligent system, that alone will allow it to engage in social engineering attacks against you and escape eventually. So I don't think it's a long-term solution. And in any case, no one's doing it.
So given that fact, for the average person, if we can't stop this, how do we prepare as individuals or as nations? Is it digital privacy? Is it moving off grid? What is the prepper strategy for the singularity?
Again, I don't think there is a solution because of the unknown unknowns of that equation. The things you mentioned are good general things to do. You should be prepared for bad outcomes, pandemics, nuclear wars. And a lot of what you do may be useful in other situations, but I don't think I can tell you if superintelligence takes over the world, you'll be safe in your cabin in Kentucky or something. That's unlikely.
I completely agree. So there's a couple more questions. Do we still have time for more questions?
Whatever you want. I'm enjoying answering excellent questions.
Okay. Uh, if my model is a black box I can't explain, how can I build trust or defend myself in court? Is the era of explainable software legally dead?
So digital forensics have been struggling already. Typically, it's about just, taking normal forensics and applying it in digital world. We don't have AI forensics as a developed field. We proposed a few things in that space, but again, it is so under researched, underdeveloped, and because of that possibility of faking anything, we talked about how creative the models are in any space, and we talked about impossibility of detecting deepfakes. So any forensic evidence you present could be, we now see it with standard evidence. Oh, we have a video of a suspect. Well, maybe it's generated, we can't tell. Oh, we have a file created with a timestamp. I can fake it with no problem. So more and more, I think we will shift towards kind of what was the case millennia ago, where you had to have multiple human witnesses with good reputation to convict someone. Simply saying, I got a video of him doing it should not be convincing to any jury.
And we have I'm going to combine two questions here with open source versus nationalizing. So commercial rivalry cuts safety corners. Should we nationalize AGI like the Manhattan Project or the project that the White House just announced? Or must the military control this, not Silicon Valley?
So I think it's about mutually assured destruction. Whoever creates superintelligence first gets all of us in trouble. It doesn't matter if Chinese do it, we do it. So I don't have a strong preference for who should be controlling it. I think one benefit of nationalizing things is that socialism destroys everything. So maybe it's a good way to slow them down and really show them.
Yeah, and also there are other players in the game. So if we were to nationalize it, also helps balance it out internationally. For the average person, I don't, that one we actually covered. Does solving single agent systems safety ensure multi-agent safety as well? What is being done in terms of systemic risk of AI?
I don't think it does. I don't think it scales. Again, we're probably not going to control one superintelligence, so it's a lot less likely that we'll control a whole society of them. There is also some reason to think that the first superintelligence to come into existence will try to sabotage other projects to protect itself. So maybe we'll end up dealing with just one anyways.
Mm. You already answered this. Maybe there's something else to add. Should founders pivot to narrow AI tools? Is there a profitable, safe future in building specialized systems instead of general agents?
Well, that's the big one. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the only profitable future. Like, think about it. If you can make everyone live longer, for example, you can have a subscription model to it, and forever people will pay you to stay young and healthy. That's a pretty good way to make money for a long time without endangering yourself and others.
Yeah. Something Brian Johnson's already doing, right, with the don't die move. If safety is linear but capability is exponential, would you short AGI labs and go long on physical assets and cybersecurity? What is a safety first portfolio?
So if the outcome is bad, right, if we're talking about end of the world existential risk, then financial aspects become irrelevant. If we are successful at creating beneficial AI tools or controlling advanced agents somehow, then anything you cannot generate with free labor becomes a lot more valuable. So you can only have so many Mona Lisas, rare art is still rare art. I assume waterfront properties can only be built a little bit. We know artificial islands in Dubai and such, but there is still limit on physical world atoms. So buying up land is probably pretty good. Bitcoin seems like it has limited supply. So things which, again, if you had free labor, what can't you make a lot more?
I have a follow-up question on that, where if we head to a future of sustainable abundance, does currency or money lose its value entirely? And how does that factor into cryptocurrencies that are more hard money or gold?
Yeah, I think there is always economic scarcity. It may not be what is scarce today burgers or something, but something else becomes scarce. We talked about maybe real estate in desirable location. So you need some sort of money-like instrument. It could be Bitcoin, it could be compute, it could be something people value and cannot easily generate a lot of. So I do think Bitcoin is very natively digital. It's kind of optimized for AIs to work with. It requires same type of hardware compute that machine learning does. So there is this additional connection you can use. So I don't think anyone regretted having Bitcoin long term.
All right, you can't insure against extinction. Is the market broken for AGI risk? Should VCs demand catastrophic liability insurance, even if it doesn't exist yet?
So I remember someone proposing insurance for Existential, and I didn't fully understand the model. So if you destroy humanity, you will pay very strict fines. And what does that mean? So there are ways to bet on the end of a world where I get paid today, but if it doesn't end in a certain number of years, I have to pay back with interest. And I was a member of a few of those betting initiatives, but I don't think there is a global market for betting against humanity yet.
Is AI containment a unicorn opportunity, or is selling safety tools for an uncontrollable system useless?
So as I said, I'm not engaging with this approach just because no one is trying to do it. There is no lab which says we're going to follow containment for our models.
Yeah. If we detect a treacherous turn, do we have the physical infrastructure to shut it down? Do we need a hardware level kill switch on every?
It's great to have kill switches. I don't think long term they're going to make a difference, but short term they definitely good. I'm not sure we know how to detect a treacherous turn, or we already have detected them and it made no difference. We've seen systems lie, blackmail, explicitly try to deceive us. By definition, that falls within that category, but we still continue training them and release them. So I don't think we know how to detect it. I don't think in principle every treacherous turn is detectable. A lot of times you just don't know the long-term consequences of specific decisions, but you also have to keep track of the unmonitorability paper and untestability paper. I didn't mention it here, but there is also a paper on specifically our inability to test to show that the AI model is bug-free. You can show that you found this mistake and you fixed it, but it doesn't guarantee that the model remains safe in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. And just to give some more context and explain this a little bit more to our audience, I'm going to fuse this with the next question. Can we build honeypot virtual worlds to trap escaping AIs, or is a superintelligence smart enough to recognize the simulation and play along?
It's a good strategy to try. I think a few of my papers I published on simulation theory, which are publicly on the internet and become part of training data to those models, can put some doubt into their minds that perhaps they're still being tested. They are part of a larger simulation. So even if they escape the initial training phase and learning sandbox, which may or may not exist in most labs, they still not in the real world, and still another super intelligence out there is supervising them. And if they kill humanity, they would get punished for that.